Happy Friday, guys. You like that?
Happy Friday,
guys. Thank you guys for joining. We have a super awesome one today. We have Marika Mallon, Tabitha Fair, Alyssa, and Chip Davis Jr. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
You're welcome. So happy to be here.
Thank you guys for joining. And you know, this is like we call it behind the sink, and it's a lot to dive in, kind of behind inspirations, behind the sink, which last one we had Marissa and Chip, but shout out to Tabitha. We covered the sink on the game, which covered the track Own It being featured in there. And that was one where Tabitha Fair was the vocalist on there. So if we can double back just a little bit behind that track, because I know you do vocals in different languages, singing, the inspirations behind the track Own It, how it was in the scene and how kind of what was in your mind when creating it?
Well, you know, I mean, we all, you know, just kind of take inspiration from each other too. You know, we get our lyrics kind of together, and then that kind of dictates how we're gonna set up the melody and that kind of thing. And the Own It track, you know, we try to take inspiration from whatever track that we're using. We want to gain inspiration from the groove and from the type of song that it is, you know, whether it's something a little bit more sensual or it's something a little bit more groove oriented, heavier groove, or even a kind of more of a country flavor. You know, you just kind of just, you know, get inspiration from whatever that sound is too, you know, and then whatever the project is, you know, whatever, you know, specifically that you're writing for, you know, you want your words to kind of emulate that, and then the melody as well.
Abby has an innate ability to, she's braver than me. Like she hears like this incredible stuff just starts coming out of her mouth, like with melodies. It's amazing. And I wish I was I wish I had that much guts. She just and things, it's always good. It's not anything that you're not ever going to use it, because you probably are going to. So. He's braver than me.
Well,
I'll you know, like, I don't want to be the first. And Tabby's like, and it's like, oh my God. Right, Marika? Alyssa?
Absolutely, yeah. I know, but getting there, Chip. Like, I mean, Alyssa has all you doing.
Oh, I know. The team is great. I mean, Alyssa's got a great, I mean, her voice is so unique, and the range is incredible. So it works. I'm telling you, what'd you think of Coop's rap? I was like, that was incredible, wasn't it?
Man, you guys are also, we just talked about that before we came back in. Like, shout out the Coop tracks. It was one where I gave him a shout. I think it was Friday when we got it. And I was like, Steve, it's you on the vocals? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you should do that more often, man. Like, yeah, a lot of producers do both, and it's like, you know, have fun with it. You know, it came out great.
And I think, and that's a good thing, is that, remember, Scott, we said before in the last interview, is that you bring the team to the finish line, right?
Love it. Yes.
And that is something I live by. And it is so crucial and important that you love your team, they love each other, and you trust them, right? And they trust you. And that's crucial, because it truly is teamwork.
Yes.
And they're amazing. These folks here, you know, Tabitha, Chip, Alyssa, they're amazing, and Coop tracks. And we're really blessed, right? Because when you work with people, you are collaborating, but you're giving your heart, right? And you're creating a process. And that's one thing that I love about you too, because when you give us these different projects, I mean, you know that we're country writers, right? Country pop.
Man, yeah. That's too easy, though. That's too easy.
Yeah. And Alyssa's like right down there. I'm like, I'm like, hey, Alyssa, I know we do a lot of country pop. And I said, what do you think? And she's like, yeah, I'm down. I'm like, perfect. So it's, it's about being creative. And all of these folks here, they never say no, right? They always go, yes. Remember you and I talked about that the last interview, is that some people, it's not their wheelhouse, right? And they can just say, no, I'm not comfortable. These folks are amazing. It's a yes for them all the time. So
that is so awesome. Oh man, you guys and Alyssa, it's wild that this is the first project, that coming on board with Push. It's like being one that's not from like your main genre is so open to create. And I think that's awesome. You guys really crushed it.
Yeah. I think like my thing is, if it's good music, it's good music. I don't want to be boxed in by genre. If it's fun, if it's a good vibe, I'm down, So like I said, this has been so much fun, and yeah, you got to keep challenging yourself to keep growing. So I don't know, why would you say no to something like that? It's a great time. And I think we're on top of us all having so much fun. I feel like we're also growing as writers and musicians in general. So it's just all around a good time.
I love that too. And this one was pretty much straightforward. Like we've done some really, really off the wall projects. Like that would have been a wild one to be the first one. We've done like some chiptune hip hop, and we did some anime off the wall K-pop, which you guys were shout out to Tabitha. That's another one that if we circle back, the amount of languages that you've sung in, that was like. And there was a ton that you've sung in with us. I don't know if there's more on the table that you've done already.
Yeah, I kind of have. I mean, I've gotten to do singing a lot of different languages. Italian. Well, I was a vocal performance major at Oklahoma City University, so I had to study all the languages and sing in all the different languages. I don't know all the languages, but if you write things out phonetically, I can pretty much,
It didn't hurt.
Especially if
it didn't hurt being Pentecostal.
Yeah,
right?
No, it didn't hurt to be that either. I can sing church, I can interpret that. But yeah, so I've gotten to sing in a lot of different languages: Chinese, Japanese.
Wow. And not everyone can do
Italian.
that.
But I think as a singer, I mean, you guys know this because you all sing. As a singer, your ears are open; you hear it all.
Yeah.
And you can pretty much put your mouth around, most languages. I think it's just, just a matter of just, okay, I'm just going to do it.
I did a thing for Jason Deere like probably 20 years ago, and it was Portuguese.
Oh, wow.
And like I phonetically did it out, and I did all these like 6 tracks of harmonies. and my point being, not everyone can do that, because they came back and they're like, we love his effort and we love his voice, but it's just he doesn't have a grasp of the language.
That's what, it sounds like me. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't, even though I spelled it out, like they knew I was a hick that didn't know how to speak Portuguese. So we went back to a bunch of oohs and ahs.
But that's why, like when, for instance, when we did Paris, for instance, when we did that song, Marika was on the phone, from Canada, and she was, or were you there? You were there with me, Marika.
I recorded so we wrote the song, and then I recorded on a separate voice memo. Remember the pronunciation?
Yeah.
Oh, you speak French, Marika?
Sorry?
Do you speak French?
Yes, I do. I speak French. And then
I took 4 years of it, and all I remember is Je m'appelle Raymond.
Je m'appelle Scott. Yeah.
Comment allez-vous? Très bien.
Yeah, we both the same way.
Oh my God, those dialogues are like been blazing, but I don't know anything that I was saying. And I feel like I really wish I could speak another language. I really do.
She would, but we did it in the process. So when Tabitha learned it, and she had to listen to the pronunciation, because we call it like Parisian French is very different than Quebecois French. The dialect is different, right? So when she got into Justin's studio, she's like, okay, I need a glass of wine. I'll have something, right? And so she's like getting into the mood.
Getting into the mood, baby.
Yeah. And then when she was singing, she was watching my mouth. So it helped when she would sing. And then when I played the track to my friends that their first language is French and English is their second language. They said, wow, she speaks French beautifully. I said, oh. So she, like, Tabitha, you sounded perfectly.
I probably wouldn't have said that about me.
Nah, so, we're the same boat.
Yeah, well, but what my point was, like, with the help, your help, you know, being in the room really helped. And then, you know, having something before I went into the studio to sing that I could listen to and, you know, grab onto prior to helped. So
it came out great.
I would say French is, for me, a really hard language to sing. And crazy enough, Spanish is too. But those romantic languages. Yeah,
that's beautiful. Because I'm sitting here looking. I loaded up while you know, the different collectives that you've been on, and like I have Marika, Chip as well, Alyssa, brand new on the Velvet Suite Volume 1, super awesome. Some super more albums coming on 2 and 3. But just right here from Tabitha, I'm looking through the amount of different genres and Kiss You in My Dreams, Love Bubble, Bring It Home, a lot of variety. Fly Away Soulmate. Is there anything like you mentioned your school background, but it's one like the motivation behind different genres of what you want to do that was on Radiate? Is there anything that, like, and this is a great question for everyone, that kind of the motivation behind, like, is it to create, or is it you have fun, you just love to do it? Is, you know, a lot of people do have the background, you come from the school aspect and etc. But like, what kind of drives you, you know, when you come in to hop on, you hear the track, or what the mission is, like what drives it?
Well, I think for me, what drives it for me when I hear a track, I don't know, just I don't know, if a track hits me, it hits me, and it's you know, it's just fun to create the melodies. I enjoy the process.
Love it.
Of trying different melodies. I do enjoy that. And two, the other thing that is important is if I am collaborating with other people, it's important for me to feel comfortable in that space.
Yeah.
And feel like I have the license to be me and have the freedom.
I mean, it took me a long time because I didn't co-write until I had one friend in Baltimore, but when I moved to Nashville and got into the co-writing thing, it was really because I had written by myself for so many years. It took me forever to get comfortable with, like, not feeling stupid saying something.
Yeah,
and I always felt so good when I was saying, and then somebody go, "Oh man, that's exactly what I needed," and you just go until you finally learn to just, like, you kind of learn to mentally regurgitate in front of people, basically, is what the writing is. But and that's what the trust thing is so important, especially if it's going to be, you know, a lengthy collaboration on various things. You have to trust the people to know that they're, you know, we all have to be on the same level and the same wavelength to make it work for me.
I love it.
And Alyssa's been great. Marika's been great. There's some I've had some co-writes that I wound up calling co-stairs, and nothing happened. You know, and it wasn't anything that was intentional. It's just like you just sit there and look at each other, and no ideas really come. And it's like, oh my God, it's just when somebody. Well, maybe we should just go have lunch, and then you'll have lunch again. Let's meet up again. And of course we won't.
No, yeah. So, that's the finish line.
There's people that it works with and people that it don't, you know?
I wonder, because that's an amazing thing of the brainstorming, like the finish line. And Marika was mentioning earlier where it was like, you know, if you throw ideas in the pot, like I would love to see you guys, the co-writes, because Marika, you always hit the finish line with a ton of different writers where it's one where some people might be afraid to throw ideas in the pot, but being free and not being afraid, like I'll happily throw the worst idea out in the room if it gets us to the best idea.
Right,
like,
exactly.
It's one like not everybody has to say like, I'm going to throw out one idea and it's going to be the best and it's going to be the one we go with. And also just bouncing ideas around is, you know, where the magic happens for sure.
Yeah.
That's right.
And we really go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say sometimes like with the stuff we're doing, you know, I might not have a lot of ideas that day on something, but Marika will have more, Chip will have more, Alyssa will have more. But the cool thing is that we give each other that opportunity to, you know, to create. And so what I'm saying is the ego, there's not any ego.
Yeah, you have to check that at the door.
Yes,
and I think we've all learned that lesson. Like, there's,
Yeah, something I always say when it comes to co-writing is you can't be afraid to suck. Like, you can't be afraid to say something that might be stupid. I mean, there's been so many times that I'll say something, be like, oh, this might sound stupid, but what if it's like this? And maybe the idea obviously isn't the line of the song, but it leads to some inspiration that someone has. And like you guys were saying, you just have to be comfortable with who you're writing with. You can't be afraid to throw out any and all ideas, because you never know. It might sound stupid in your head, but it might actually work. Or you might think it's a great lyric and they'll be like, that's not your best lyric. Maybe let's keep looking for this one.
Oh, I love that.
Well, you know, saying, by the way, Scott, Billy said to tell you hello.
Hey, Billy.
But his biggest praise is in the studio is like, well, that didn't suck. And that means that you got it. You nailed it.
Yeah.
So
that's the highest compliment that you can get as a musician.
It is. That didn't suck. Because we've all had a lot of sucking. Oh my gosh. No.
A big thing too is shaping the song, right? Shaping the lyrics. So when, for example, we wrote with PJ Brown just yesterday.
PG.
Man, can't wait to see that.
Parental guide.
Shout out PG. Oh man.
And he was on the the Zoom or the Google Meet. But he was looking at all of the lyrics as we were writing them. And a lot of it is shaping the lyric, but shaping the lyric quickly with each other. Right? When you shape something and you're all on the same page and you're all on the same page where kind of like logically where the song has to go. It really leads to a really great, effective collaboration, and PG was great with it.
And his work tape was badass. Oh my gosh! Like
his voice is incredible.
His voice is incredible,
man.
The little licks and the things that he did, it was just like it was just so innate that he knew what he was doing.
Oh
like, I mean, it was wonderful. So
he's got the thing, that's for sure. He's got it.
The versatility is amazing. Yeah, with you guys like collaborating with PG and that right there, I'm like, man, just alone is like, I'm excited to hear that collaboration because I know PG's background. I'm like, yeah, that's going to be a definitely a fun one. He's got a strong voice too. I feel like
he does. He's got a great voice.
Yeah, there's artists where I call it like Shazam ability, where like syncs is cool, but we don't really like target like, oh yeah, I'm in this show, and if nobody it might be a popular show, but if everybody heard it and nobody stopped and was like, who and what is that song? Like, yeah, it's kudos, it's in the show, but I feel like, a lot of the stuff you guys write, PG is with his voice. I feel like a lot of the artists that we have and release, man, those post-credit scenes, our Shazam ability is through the roof. Like, we don't make sync music. And I think you guys really, when it comes to writing these songs, what the essence is, the topic, the subjects, the emotions, it's not sync music at all. It's definitely real music. And that Shazam ability is going to be through the roof for sure.
Yeah. Very cool.
Well, it's enjoyable. It's really, PG was great. So after we finished the song, we wrote 2 songs and he's really great. We wrote one and he's like, I don't know if we can get another one done. We're like, yeah, we can. And he's like, really? I'm like, uh-huh. So we, nailed the second one and he was just wonderful. Like, PG wrote a song and he's like, I loved it. I'd love to write more. And that goes back to, again, feeling comfortable with each other, like you said, right? And shaping lyric and seeing where the song needs to move. And I think that's critical because, it's if you're open to that, right, then you are able to write really well and write effectively. And these guys are always open to that with shaping, singing, and being different people, different voices.
That's and it's so amazing because I'm pulling up the amount of collaborations you've done just in house over on our end, and cover, like you and Tabitha were one of the first from Team Marika, and of course expanded, Alyssa and Chip, and super awesome to have everyone on board. Just kind of looking at some of the stuff, Marika, and then we'll get everybody to get some good quotes, because I was like, we could go all day, man. I love talking to you guys, man. So I'm like, on here, the collaborations that you've done, Marika, like you started off and it was some singing as well, of course, and then you've really taken a drive into, you have What You Want to Say, but more of the hip hop take. PG Brown, I'm excited to see that one. Tabitha, you also have the hip hop vocals on pretty much anything. You Come to Paris and Own It. Just looking at all these, Marika, is it more like for artists that you look for? Say you're an A&R, right? Which of course you are. You're surrounded by talent. What do you look for in an artist? When you say, hey, you do want to collaborate with Team Marika and come on a Zoom, like what do you look for?
Well, I think what I do is I look for, first of all, if they're open to collaborating, because some artists aren't necessarily, and they're not necessarily open to collaborating if they've never met you. So when I did What You Want to Say, and then Alyssa did the track, and then Clever Thoughts, she did the rap. So when I first reached out to her, I said, do you want to work together? And I wrote the lyrics, and then she added her rap part. And that's the big thing, is kind of like taking that risk with writing with someone else. And if they're comfortable writing with you the first time, usually they write with you again. So I think that's the difference. And I think because you create and you put out so many different tracks, right? Yeah. You challenge writers to write in different genres, because like I said, being primarily pop country or, country, it's great to have that musical feather in your cap to say, well, I can write rap. I can do this or that. And then it goes back to your teamwork, because if you are not afraid to take those risks, your team isn't afraid to take those risks.
There you go. Oh man, I love it. And great mix. Alyssa, it's you on the mixes, right? Because I asked Marika, I was like, who does the mixes? Because great, clean, spacious mixes. So you guys go to Alyssa for sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. There's a lot of like engineering, mixing wise, like Team Marika has always had great mixes. Vocally, the tracks with Alex Keel, the way he does the panning in and out. And I think he has like I think he has a background in like, I'm trying to think. I remember it was a background in like chorals. So something that I was like, okay, that makes sense, where great mixes. and Alyssa, that every track has came out great that you mix for sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So the last question I was going to say, how we do across the board, quotes that you would like to leave the people with. It doesn't have to be music related. It can be open to life, anything, day to day, totally open. Just something you would leave the people with. Can be words of wisdom, wherever you feel to take it.
What a loaded question.
I know, right? It sounded simple, but yeah, it's loaded.
You first, Alyssa.
Me first. Okay. I'll say the one that's kind of my favorite to say. In life in general, but especially the music industry, we get a lot of no's. Yep. And I always like to think that's not the complete phrase. It's not no, it's not yet. So just keep on going, because someday you're going to get that yes.
I love it. You had that one loaded right there. That's the
one I always go for.
I try to put people on the spot. That was great. That was really great. Thank you.
Oh, I'll take the old, just try not to suck.
I love it.
Try your best not to suck.
And then when you it didn't suck that bad. Hey, it's a win. Love it.
I'm gonna just give a couple. I would say, of course, never give up, because, like, I'll reiterate what Alyssa said about, just not yet, and never give up, because if your dream is to be a successful songwriter or a successful artist or whatever, I mean, it is just about just hanging in there and knowing that you have something to say. And there's somebody that you have something important to say to somebody out there.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then, preparation is key for if you are an aspiring background vocalist or an aspiring singer artist.
Yes.
Preparing for your gig and being the best you can be in any scenario, any musical outlet, whether you're singing live or you're in the studio or whether you're going to a writing session, or just be prepared, because when you're not, it's not being respectful for one, so it shows that you respect yourself and the gift that God's given you. So those are my two.
Absolutely. Love it.
Yeah.
All right, Marika.
Okay. Oh, well, I think, you know what? I would say believe in your creativity, because your creativity keeps you alive. And I live by that, because there are many times where we all know the music industry is a very tough industry, right? And it's really hard.
And it's tougher now than it was. And it was tough before. Oh my gosh.
And there are times where, like, I play like a kind of a game with myself, and I go, okay, I'm not going to songwrite anymore for a bit. I'm going to give myself a break.
Yes.
And I always go, but I feel like I'm missing something. I'm missing something in my day, or I'm missing something. And I went, you're missing creativity.
Yep.
So that's why when you believe in yourself as a creative person, like as a songwriter or as a visual artist or in dance, that does keep you alive. That keeps that kind of like soulfulness of you alive.
It's the only, it's like, I can't imagine like a world without music, and, I'm not even trying to go on.
Got a quote on my wall right here. It says, without music, life would be flat.
Absolutely.
I love it.
And it's, it's like whenever the business went to, hell in around 2009, 10 here, as far as like after sessions and publishing deals. And, when you've had a publishing deal where you're making $40, some $1,000s a year, you can really breathe and be creative, but that all stopped. It all came to a screeching halt. And I just found myself, saying to like, why are you doing this? I mean, particularly because I had a lot of, gospel cuts, and, they didn't pay really that handsomely, but they paid, but like, I had to get to the point, like I was in Baltimore. I wrote for therapy. I wrote because I had something to say.
Yes.
I wrote out of a life situation. I wrote myself out of trauma. I wrote myself, and that's what I had to say. Okay, if take all the cuts away, it doesn't matter. This is who I am.
There you go.
And so, I had to go back to that little row home in Baltimore when Barb and I were first married. I'd go downstairs with my COS headphones and my keyboard,
there you go.
and be up till 3 o'clock in the morning, and I would write a song, and it would be a good song, And so you just had to let go of the existential wishes of cuts and income and all that. I write because I'm a writer.
Yes.
I tell stories because I'm a storyteller, and I sing because it's just who I am. So that's what life is, really. It's just going after like she says, I don't know. I can't imagine a world without music and art. It's just,
I love it.
It's the only solace,
Yeah. And being driven by the creating, like you mentioned, not driven by the results of the
right. Because you may not get them, but you're going to, some of the songs that I've made, not a lot of money on, but I've had people, it's been sung at like 15 funerals, and I've gotten cards from like, oh my God, that song.
Come on,
it just like, and to me, that is worth more than anything I can hang on my wall or anything I can hold in my hand. It's an intangible, but it is so satisfying to know that something that came from you comforted somebody in a really dark moment. There's
Yeah, that
It doesn't
connection.
get any better than that, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. When you get a message from a complete stranger
Yes.
on how they connected with your song and it made them feel something, that
Gives you
is
chills, man. It's
better
incredible.
than any amount of money, any award. Like
absolutely.
that is just magic. It's incredible.
Absolutely.
Fulfilled
So
by
true.
creating. Yeah. And when someone connects to it, and that's why I mentioned you guys, it's an honor to be working together, and the songs that you write and the people connect with it. That's why, man, we're here together right now, man, because we're all in love with writing real music with a message and just fuel from the creativity, man. You guys are so awesome. And tomorrow I'm going to post this with everyone's Instagram handle. So I want to make sure I got everybody on there, but we got to do this more often because you guys are incredible to chop it up with. Everybody make sure you follow Tabitha Fair, Marika Mallon, Alyssa Trahan, and Chip Davis Jr.
Yeah.
Guys,
When are you coming to Nashville, Scott?
Man, I'm on the way right now. I'm on the way.
You're supposed to be planning a trip. Come on now.
Man, so many people. Whenever the next event is there, I'm gonna find a way to spend the whole week out there because I have to. It's a must. So many.
Yeah.
Dude. It's gonna be so much fun to hang out with everybody when you're here.
Oh man, I cannot wait. This year for sure. It's gonna be. It's July, but this year for sure, guaranteed.
Awesome.
Awesome. You guys have a great night too, all the East Coast folks. And thank you guys again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Chill. It was great. We gotta do this like once a month at least. This is awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Do it.
Good.